Gotta love the internet lag. There we go. Let me see how the audio sounds. Hey, no feedback. Yes. Let me know if this sounds okay. I'm going to just turn this down so I can watch the comments over here. Everything sound okay today, April? I was going to use the microphone and it sounded great on the recording. And then when I went to stream it, I did like a private video just to see what it sounded like. And it was, like, it had so much feedback and I don't know how to adjust that. So I'm going to use the microphone on the camera for $250. Something better work on that damn camera. And I bet you my stream settings, yeah, everything looks good. It's not lagging. If it starts to lag or glitch on you guys, let me know. I mean, I have a crap ton of stuff. I am going to, what do I have on here? Hang on. Trying to figure out which audio this is. Oh well, it doesn't sound bad, so I'm not going to get too upset with it, but what the hell is that? Sorry, I don't know where this extra sound setting came from. Got no clue. But I am going to start off, hopefully, the Stream Deck, and I have, hopefully everything is in order. So we are going to go here. This is on MedPage. I don't know if I need to zoom in on the article. Let me know if it's hard to read on a phone. I mean, I'm just gonna scroll through it. If I need to zoom in on like a specific part, I guess I can do that. I'm trying to follow on my phone just to see how it looks, because obviously I'm on a laptop and I got a big screen and things are a little different. So the first big thing that's been in the news is that topic, the AstraZeneca vax flops against South African variant in early trial. But the jury is still out as to whether it prevents severe disease from the variant. And this is a great headline. I'm going to point this out because they put this in here. And this is what's really important. This vaccine isn't meant to prevent you from getting infected. Everybody keeps screaming about, oh my God, it's a conspiracy, you still get sick. Well, yeah, we knew that. No big surprise. Let me see if this pops up. I'm turning on the webcam, I think. We'll see what happens. Yep, there it goes. Yay, the button worked. Even if you get sick with this variant, with this vaccine, if you get the AstraZeneca, it doesn't look like it's that you're going to get very, very sick. So there is still some effectiveness against it. It's just, this is a more powerful variant. There's still no agreement on the AstraZeneca vaccine safety. Some officials say the blood clots are occurring more frequently and with atypical presentations, while others aren't sure. They want more data. Imagine that. Argument of harm reduction versus depriving people of the vaccine, in which even more will die. And ZDogg talks about this a lot. Harm reduction is something he actually speaks on quite a bit. We already know that there are going to be a certain number of people, as with any vaccine, that are going to have side effects. Are those few people who are going to have some kind of side effect, do those side effects outweigh the prevention and the lives that's going to save? And you have to look at a cost benefit to the greater society as a whole. It's not just about us. I know a lot of people would like it to be about just them, But unfortunately, when it comes to protecting a population of people, the government has to look at everybody and not just your opinion. Just because you're offended doesn't make you right. Ay, ay, ay. There's so much going on. I mean, I can't believe this is like 20 pages of notes. I'm probably going to have to do 2 videos just to not overwhelm people with information. What they are seeing with these blood clots and this vaccine is it's happening more than if we were to expect it to happen by chance in the population of people. Now we need to do more studies. So we need to ask more questions. We need to pose more questions and do more research. I had to laugh at my friend. I mean, he's really panicking about, when are things going to go back to normal? How long do you think? And then he sends me an article about this vaccine, and he had said that, oh my God, the vaccine isn't as effective. I said, yeah, it went from 79 to like 76 efficacy. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, it's a variance, but it's not like cut in half. And for a year of this going on, and we haven't even been forming a vaccine against this for a year because we didn't even have the virus isolated. So in less than a year, you have all these vaccines across the world. Can you find what the reinfection? We're going to talk about that. I do have that on one of these tabs. Yes. We're going to discuss that. That's actually a huge topic. Is it replicatable? That's what we need to find out. When we do studies, we want to know, can we replicate this study over and over again? Is this going to keep occurring at the same rate? And can we predict that this is going to happen repeatedly? And the more repeated positives that you have, the more evidence is for that argument. You'll have to forgive the trains in the background. We are right next to a train yard, and it is like Grand Central Station in here. I am not even kidding. There's usually a fan running at all times, but I had to turn it off so it didn't pick up in the background. But now you'll have to listen to the trains with me. These folks passed away, I had noticed early on, and I still see the pattern that these people are passing away with very specific symptoms. I mean, very, very specific. ITP has been seen in 36 people in mRNA vax trials in the U.S. That's the thrombocytopenia. The FDA said it didn't appear to be more common in vaxxed people. The cases seen in Europe are very distinct from ITP. It's not the same. They are able to differentiate, and we were calling it, I believe this is the one I was writing down about DIC, but it's very specific from all of this. We can identify that certain things are not happening that we know would happen if it were that. Now, you have to remember the UK has given 10 million doses with no clotting issues or bleeding problems. So that's pretty significant. 10 million doses and no cases like this. So you have to look at things in perspective. You can't just take things at a headline. One patient in Germany had clots from head to toe. Resembles DIC, but it isn't. Okay, if I would have just kept reading. And I've witnessed this exact symptom in some severe COVID patients, like severe. The doctors and all of us are standing there going, is this DIC? And it's not. When they run the blood work and they do all the other tests, it's definitely not happening. So we have to figure this out. More studies need to be done. I need to highlight what else I've covered so I don't do this again. One patient who wasn't counted in these numbers also appears to be suffering from atypical hemolytic uremic syndrome. It's extremely rare. It's characterized by low levels of circulating red blood cells due to their destruction, which is hemolytic anemia. Low platelet count, which is thrombocytopenia, due to their consumption and inability of the kidneys to process waste products from the blood and excrete them into the urine, which is an acute kidney injury. And I'm going to abbreviate the hemolytic uremic syndrome from now on so I don't stumble over the words. So we're going to call it HUS. It develops from damage to the vascular wall. This happens with COVID infections. It's the endotheliitis. It's inflammation of the vascular wall, the endothelium. So I kind of would expect some of these things to happen because it's an inflammation throughout the entire body in the blood vessels. So it's going to cause damage. So yeah, I honestly, I'm really surprised it's not more common. Out of 7 cases, or all 7 of the cases of the I'm trying not to use big medical words to confuse people. I'm sorry. I keep abbreviating things in medical jargon, and then I have to remember what they stand for. Central venous thrombosis, I believe, in Germany happened between days 4 and 16 after vaccination. The analysis suggested only a single case would normally be expected in the 1.6 million who were vaxxed in that group. So that kind of gives you an idea of the magnitude that you're looking at, even though it seems like nothing. But when you statistics is so much fun, trying to figure out sample sizes and estimate variances and predict all these influences in the population, which is why we get the flu vaccine strain, which is going to be dominant, so wrong every year. People are urged to seek medical treatment immediately if they develop persistent unusual headaches or unusual bruising after vaccination. So if you start notice like really significant bruising happening very quickly, you get a headache like you've never had before, you get your ass to the hospital because that's a clot. We need to get rid of that. A pulmonary embolism will kill you if it breaks loose. Don't screw around. So you definitely want to cover that. There's a panel that's being convened to determine whether there is a causal relationship or not. So we're looking into it still. Let's see here. Oh, did I forget to? Hang on. Hey. Well, I wonder what was right there. Huh. I wonder which one of my sources that was. Okay. The WHO tells Europe to continue to vax. I don't think I have that browser tab up. The benefits outweigh the risk. So the European Medicines Agency, or the EMA, has said so far it has not found a relationship between any of this and to continue to vax. 17 million have been vaxxed in the UK, found no increased risk of clotting issues. So take that for what it's worth. You have information. When I get done, I will attach the sources to the video. It didn't want to, yeah, I guess the links were too long because my title showed up right this time. Oh, Lord have mercy. Why did I have to go all over the place? I went everywhere. Sorry, I'm trying to find my notes because now I got myself out of order. I'm looking for... What the hell did I do with it? Damn it. What the hell? Dear Lord in heaven. Okay, I'm gonna have to just kind of wing this one. I had all these notes, and I'm missing a piece of paper. I am. Huh. I had too many pieces of paper, it wasn't my damn problem. Maybe it's stuck. Aha. Found it. Let's say, shoot, that was a lot of info. Okay, the AstraZeneca vaccine is not protective against mild to moderate disease from either South African variant B1.1.351 or the wild type, which is the OG. The wild type, when they're talking about the wild type, was the one that came in from the wild, the original line. The overall efficacy against the South African variants was 21.9% against mild to moderate infection, and the specific B.1.351 variant 10.4%. So there's a little bit, but it's not great. The pooled data from other countries, including the UK and Brazil and South Africa, prior to the B.1.351 showed overall vaccine efficacy 66.7% and 74.6% against the UK variant per se. The average age of the people in the study was like 30 years. 56% were men, 71% were black, 20% were obese, 42% were smokers, and 3% had underlying hypertension or chronic respiratory issues. When sequenced with the vaccine, 41 of 42 were sequenced. 39 cases were from that South African variant, that specific B.1.351. So most of the infections were from that variant. So that lets us know that that specific variant isn't getting the protection, but there were no cases of severe hospitalization. So it does, this is why there's a huge question as to whether or not it prevents disease from the variant, a severe disease. There's what they did to explore the question, they showed about a 33.5% efficacy against severe disease, but now they're going to continue to study that. Okay, so why the ADE hasn't been an issue with the COVID vaccination. A lot of people are asking about ADE, and I'm going to talk about why it hasn't been a problem with the COVID vaccines. Even with the new variants, it's unlikely that antibody-dependent enhancement will be an issue. This is something that does happen to appear. Sorry, when we had that storm up here. So what I want to talk about is what this is first, because you keep seeing this word mentioned in the news. You see people talking about it. When antibodies generated during an immune response recognize and bind to a pathogen, but they are unable to prevent infection. So I know a lot of people are wondering if that's what's going to happen with this vaccine, because you hear about this a lot. And the news does whatever they want with these topics they don't understand. Instead, the antibodies act like a Trojan horse, allowing the pathogen to get into the cells and exacerbate the immune response. So yeah, it looks like that might be happening, or when the cytokine storm happened, early on, we had questioned whether a vaccine would cause this, but we are seeing no evidence of that. The Trojan horse, when non-neutralizing antibodies just shut down the pathogen upon re-exposure. So a lot of people are speculating that that's what's happening with this vaccine, and that's not exactly true. So this is what I want to get into and why it hasn't been a problem with COVID vaccines. We're going to talk about the science behind it. dengue is the most common instance where this has happened. It also happened in 1967 with the RSV vaccine. The vax was associated with immune complex formation when kids were exposed to RSV in the community. Some got even more sick and died. That's been a concern. And it also occurred with the measles vaccine in the 60s. Why they are saying this is a non-issue is from the beginning, scientists sought to target protein least likely to cause ADE. So the vaccine was developed, and they talked about this early on last spring, early summer there, when they were doing vaccine research. They were talking about isolating specific proteins at that time that would not cause that type of behavior in an immune response. The studies were designed to, they were set up to find that specifically. And when you design a study, it's only as good as the quality of the setup. And when you design a study to target finding this, well, then you're going to have good results. So we are seeing the opposite of ADE occurring with these vaccines. It'll kill you quickly. So if anybody was going to get ADE, they would all be dropping dead. I mean, everybody. Everybody. Which, it's pretty crazy because Junior's book, The Well, I had marked some paragraphs that I'm going to read on the air when we go live on Saturday with the interview, and he was reading back over it yesterday. He's like, oh my God, these words are kind of haunting. I'm like, I know, right? That's why they really stood out to me when I read them now, because he had wrote that book quite a while before this pandemic started, and it's like almost like a prophecy. So now he understands, I think, a little bit more why he's getting this crazy fan mail. But it's science, and that's, you know, his big thing is, hey, my story is not true, but it's the possibility of what could happen if, and this is based on research. It's not just something he manifested in his head. It's an acute, mostly cytokine-driven event. So we would see all these crazy cytokines and inflammatory responses immediately after getting vaxxed. One exception is a Chinese vaccine. It's a whole cell killed vaccine. It has no chance of seeing the light of day in the U.S. Are they trying to kill people over there? Because I'm pretty sure that's why this was released. I'm pretty sure, I'm firm in my beliefs that China has been trying to control their population through disease. And it's spread to us in the whole frickin' world very quickly. Yeah. That's how I feel about that. That's kind of creepy. Actually, I want to save these notes because I'm going to address this at a different time again. So ADE isn't happening. Like I said, I'm going to, all these notes that I'm highlighting here with all the links, I'm going to put it in the description when I get done with the video so you can click on them. But, you know, you guys know Z-Dog loves when Vinay Prasad comes on his show. I love Vinay Prasad because he really offers some good perspective, and it's respectful, and he's actually got a great personality. But this is one of his articles on his op-ed on MedPage from March 16th. And it's Stop Beating Up Joe Citizen. Let's focus on resources, not restrictions for those most at risk, which is true. This is what I've said from the very beginning. Education and resources over fear tactics, because it's going to go a lot farther. And when people see that working, they're going to listen to their neighbor who they see not getting sick and enjoying their lives over hating them and shaming them for wearing a mask, because that's what we see on the news. So he talks about a punching down. The experts are choosing to focus their limited TV time on what average people could, should, or are already doing. It's redundant. I don't know how many times my brain shuts down when I'm listening to a lecture over redundant. What the hell? What did I do?